All right, let's talk Next.js. Have you ever had a project start out all nice and clean, and then a few months later you look at it and it's just this tangled mess of files? Yeah, we've all been there. Well, today we're going to fix that. We're going to look at a blueprint for architecting our projects that's simple, powerful, and built to last, by thinking of it just like a well-designed house. Let's jump in.
So, here's the game plan. First, we'll talk about how projects get so messy in the first place. Then, I'll introduce you to this core idea, treating your project like a house. After that, we'll take a full tour of this house, and I'll show you what goes in every room. And finally, we'll wrap up by looking at exactly why this approach is such a game changer.
You know the feeling, right? You start a new project, and everything is just perfect. It's clean, it makes sense, but then it gets popular. Features get added, things grow, and before you know it, you're completely lost in a jungle that you created.
I mean, just think about your current project. Does that folder structure feel a little confusing? Do you ever find yourself clicking around trying to remember where you put that one little file?
And does that confusion sometimes start to feel completely unmanageable? Like you've kind of lost control of your own creation? If you're nodding right now, trust me, you are not alone. This happens to everyone.
And listen, this isn't about you being a bad developer. It's just a natural result of success. As you add more pages, more components, more API calls, and especially as more people join the team, complexity just explodes. Without a solid plan, chaos is pretty much inevitable.
But what if there was a plan, a blueprint that could bring order to that chaos? Well, there is. And it starts with a really simple but powerful idea. Let's stop thinking about code and start thinking about our project as a house. You hear this term all the time, scalable architecture. It sounds super intimidating, right? But honestly, it's just a fancy way of saying, think of your project like a house. You wouldn't put your bed in the kitchen, would you? Of course not. Every room has a job. In our project, every single folder is going to have one clear purpose too. Okay, you ready? It's time to take a tour of this new digital house we're building. We're going to walk through each room, each folder, and I'll show you exactly what it's for.
So, first up is the app directory. This is the main part of the house. These are the actual rooms your visitors will walk into, the home page, the dashboard, the contact page. This is what people actually see and use. Because in Next.js, every folder you put in here becomes a URL on your website. Super straightforward. Now, a room is pretty empty without stuff in it. That's where the components folder comes in. This is all your furniture, your buttons, your navigation bars, your info cards. Think of them like little Lego bricks that you build once and then use over and over again to furnish all your different rooms. All right, this next one is a huge deal for bigger projects, the features folder. Think of this less like a single piece of furniture and more like an entire section of the house, like the kitchen or the office. The features folder groups everything related to one big concept, like all the code for user login or everything for the shopping cart, all in one self-contained organized box. You can't have a modern house without power, right? Well, the hooks folder is all your electrical wiring. This is the invisible stuff, the reusable logic that makes everything work. It's not something you see, like a button, but it's the behind-the-scenes magic, like figuring out the user screen size or checking if they're online.
And of course, every good builder needs a toolbox. That's your lib folder, short for library. This is where you keep all your general-purpose tools, functions for formatting a date or validating an email address. These are just pure, simple helpers that you can use absolutely anywhere in your project. Okay, let's pause here because this is a big one. A lot of people get hooks and lib confused. Just remember the metaphor. Hooks are the electrical wires inside the walls. They're connected to your UI and React. Your lib folder is the toolbox you bring into the house. The tools don't care about the house, they just do their job. It's a really important distinction for keeping your code clean.
So our house also needs to connect to the outside world, right? It needs plumbing. The services folder is all of your communication pipes. This is where you put any and all code that talks to a server. Fetching data, sending data, all of it. This keeps all that external communication neatly organized in one spot. So if hooks are the electrical wires, the store folder is the main circuit breaker for the whole house. This is where you manage your global state, the data that needs to be available everywhere, like who the logged-in user is or what's in their shopping cart. You can think of it as the brain of your application. Now for you TypeScript fans, the types folder is your collection of architectural blueprints. It's where you define the exact shape of your data. What information does a user object have? What fields are required for a product? This folder makes sure all the different data pieces in your application fit together perfectly. And last but not least, the public folder. This is basically the yard around your house. It's for anything that sits outside the main structure but is still part of the property. Things like images, your company logo, fonts, or icons. These are files that anyone can just directly access from the web.
So, we've seen the whole house, from the foundation to the roof. But what's the big payoff here? Why should you bother organizing things this way? Let's talk about why this blueprint really works.
It really comes down to 4 massive wins. 1. New developers can join your team and instantly get it. The layout just makes sense. 2. You'll never again have a folder with 200 random files in it. 3. It forces a clean separation between your visuals, your logic, and your data. And number 4, the most important one, it's built to scale. Your project will stay organized even when it gets huge.
And there you have it, the whole blueprint, all on one slide. Your app folder is the rooms, components are the furniture, services are the pipes. See how it all just clicks into place? This right here is your cheat sheet. This is the master plan for every clean, professional, and scalable project you build from now on.
So, the next time you start a project, don't just think of it as writing code. Think of it as designing a structure. You're building a house, and the only question is, will you be the architect